All right, Sandra, let's bring in Shannon Bream, chief legal correspondent and anchor of Fox News Sunday. I guess I could start us off with no more late shows. We're back to night court reruns, but there's other stuff going on, including
Greg Gutfeld.
Greg, I mean, he's killing it, isn't he? Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Including President Trump directing Pam Bondi to unseal grand jury transcripts in the Epstein prosecution, which brings around a lot of questions like, when do we ever see grand jury testimony being revealed to the public? How does this work, and what would this entail?
It's really rare because, remember, it's an unopposed hearing. The prosecution is going and telling people on this grand jury their best case scenario for putting forward their case. Witnesses will say things that could never be admitted in court. There's hearsay, there are all kinds of things. So generally, you don't release that kind of stuff because it wouldn't be admissible in a court of law. But you can go and petition a judge, and we would know if DOJ files to do this today, in short order, which judge it gets assigned to. It's really up to that judge whether or not they agree to allow things to be released. And keep in mind, people who testify before the grand jury, maybe they go file in the court in the Southern District of New York and say, oh, no, I don't want my witness testimony getting out there. Or if you think you're a third party was mentioned in some of this testimony, you may try to go and lodge a complaint with that judge that you don't want it released. So judge has a lot of authority. It's going to take some time before we see anything. And even whatever we get from that grand jury transcript, that's just going to be a sliver of what's actually available when it comes to Epstein evidence.
So I assume that this judge, whoever is assigned this, is going to have to look through all of this material, decide what to release, what not to release, what to redact, what not to redact. That's going to be, I assume, as you indicated, a time-consuming process. And depending on how many strikeouts and how many pages are held back, it may limit really what we find out from this.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because under the federal rules of civil procedure, not to get too wonky, there's this Rule 6. And it kind of guides the judge on how much they can release and for what reasons you could release this information. But the judge really has a lot of autonomy there. So it will be up to them to make that decision. And there's no clock that's ticking when the Justice Department files this request. It's really at the judge's own timeline.
Right. Okay, on Capitol Hill, just a little while ago, we saw yet another former Biden administration official up to do an interview with, deposition, whatever, for the Oversight Committee. Annie Tomasini, who was the Deputy Chief of Staff, took the fifth repeatedly, leading James Comer to put out this statement. During her deposition today, Ms. Tomasini pleaded the fifth when asked if Joe Biden, a member of his family, or anyone at the White House instructed her to lie regarding his health at any time. She also pleaded the fifth when asked if she ever advised President Biden on the handling of classified documents found in his garage, if President Biden or anyone in the White House instructed her to conceal or destroy classified material found at President Biden's home or office, and if she ever conspired with anyone in the White House to hide information regarding the Biden family's business dealings. We're constitutionally protected against self-incrimination. People are allowed to take the fifth without prejudice.
Right.
It clearly makes it look like there's a lot of smoke there. But if these former Biden officials keep taking the fifth, where does this investigation go? Yeah,
a couple of things. So you can't presume anybody's guilty because they take the fifth. As you said, we have this presumption. And the problem is her attorneys are going to tell her, don't answer. She could have probably answered some of these questions, but the minute you open the door, then you've kind of pulled away the Fifth Amendment protection, at least for those subject matters you've been talking about. So unwise for her to answer any questions. So many of these folks have been scheduled as voluntary, transcribed interviews. When they decide they're not going to show up or they start to get cold feet, that's when the subpoenas come out. So all of these other people who are coming, potentially Karine Jean-Pierre, Jeff Zients, others, if these turn into subpoenas, they may all turn into this Fifth Amendment situation where you get nothing. And unless somebody on the inside of the Biden circle says, oh, we were potentially misusing the auto pen, the president didn't know what was going on, that's the only way you're going to get to this kind of information.
These folks hold the keys to the kingdom.
They do.
Right? There's no other evidence out there, so unless one of them starts singing, we're not going to find anything.
And why would they?
And I guess there's potentially a couple of outcomes here, or scenarios under which this happened. Biden could have said, look, I'm an old guy. I don't want to sign all these documents. I authorize them all. You go ahead and use the auto pen. I guess that would be fine. But if somebody was saying, oh, let's not even talk to the president about it, let's just put this in the auto pen machine, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Absolutely. And if you have something done under the purview of the president's authority that he wasn't aware of and didn't sign off on, it then questions the validity of any of those actions or documents.
Right, and that's the point that the Republicans are making, that maybe if that happened, a lot of these orders that came down in the Biden administration are null and void. We'll see.
Yeah, but
who's on Fox News Sunday?
We have got Senator Dave McCormick with us. We've got Congressman Adam Smith, and we've got a special on the Savannah
Did you
bananas.
say Adam Schiff or
Adam Smith?
Oh, Adam Smith, I was going to say.
But listen, Mr. Schiff, if you would like to come, Senator, you are welcome as well.
Yes.
But the Savannah Bananas, if you know these guys, it's such a great story. They're very humble and a lot of fun, and we went to a game with them.
All right, good deal. We'll see you on Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Thanks, Shannon. All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.